Good morning, my name is Hunter Banks, and as a student of UH Maui College, it benefit me to interview an expert in the career path that I'm looking to pursue. And being one yourself, I think it would be great to get some insight as you took the same path that I'm looking to take. The purpose of this is I'm going to ask you some questions about your background and career path, along with some day-to-day life experiences that you have, your work and career experiences, and any advice you might give to future officers so that I can learn a little bit more about you and the path you took and that I might be able to take in the future to get to where I want to be. I'm going to use this information to manage my path towards a federal service career as a federal civil servant and become a superintendent of operations here in Maui. The interview is going to take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. Do you have time for this?
I do.
All right, great. Let's get started. Let me begin with some questions about your background and how you got to where you are today. First one is, what does your background consist of?
It's mostly consists of military and federal government work. When I was 22, I joined the military, joined the Air Force. I did 6 years as military police, security forces.
Mm-hmm.
We did a tech school over there in San Antonio, Texas, and that was a couple months. And that's where I got certified to be a police officer for the Air Force.
Okay.
I did 6 years, Japan and Vandenberg, California.
Okay.
And after that, I got out and I joined the Navy on the civilian side as a police officer over there as well on Oahu. I
Okay.
wanted to get to Hawaii. That was
Yeah.
part of my plan, was to
Okay.
get to Hawaii
Okay.
after the Air Force.
Okay.
I was doing the police officer thing over there for a while, and then I ended up finding this gig over here in Maui, Hawaii as a police officer for the Air Force, Space Force now, Air Force at the time.
Okay.
And I really wanted to move to Maui, and
Mhm.
like that was part of my plan. So it ended up, I actually moved over for the job, but it was like a double, a perk that it was also here in Maui. So
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah, so I was planning to come to Maui and also had the job right over there. So it was
Beautiful.
good. Yeah.
Works out. So, going forward, now that you're a civilian here in Maui, what is the career path that took you to be in your current position here as the superintendent of operations?
So once I got here, I was I signed on, bottom of the barrel, pretty much police officer.
Okay.
Once I was here for 1 year. After 1 year, I was able to apply for what we know as corporal,
Okay.
right? So we have different stages: officer, corporal, sergeant, and now I'm sergeant first class, right?
Okay.
So, started off here police officer. After 1 year, you're able to put in to promote. It's kind of like the interview.
Mm-hmm.
You got to interview for the job. You're
Mhm.
just not getting it, right? You got to actually apply for it.
Right.
And so yeah, worked really hard, showed dedication, showed my leadership that I'm like a long-term member here.
Yeah.
So I made corporal, and I pretty much did the same thing, and then it took me another year, and then I made sergeant. And
Okay.
so after 2 years, I kind of just basically worked my way up to this position I'm in right now. I was very lucky to have a mentor. He was a military guy. He's actually still here, Master Sergeant Earthman.
Okay.
He was in the operations role before me, and he was military. And when he vacated that position, he kind of vouched for me that I was kind of next in line or good for the job.
Good to go. Okay.
So, yeah, you got to move up on the ranks, but at the same time,
Just you get put in your due work. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So being currently in college and working towards my degree, I was just curious if you have a degree yourself.
I actually do not have
No,
a degree.
okay.
I did join the. I went to school from 19 to 21.
Okay.
Community college, Walla Walla Community College in Washington. I went
Okay.
for I was doing fire science
Okay.
for an AA, and I got through the course. I got my certificate for to be a firefighter.
Okay.
I just didn't finish with the actual degree.
Okay.
So
So,
at
but
21, you know.
so to be to be in your position, a degree is not needed or like necessary.
No.
No. Okay. That's good to know, just for future. So then, do you have any sort of? You said the fire certificate, but do you have any other like certificates or like special skills that you've acquired that kind of helped you lead to this position?
So the nice thing of what the military definitely helped me out a lot here, because this usually civilian force makes up, you know, probably half military, half civilian. Some civilians don't even have any like military background,
Right.
so they get hired on as like a security officer or
Mhm.
just a police officer, and then we send them to this LETC program in Arkansas to
Okay.
get certified as a United States civilian police officer,
Okay.
right? So, me being in the military, getting that, being a cop,
Mhm.
I already had the schooling for police officer.
Okay.
I got out, I went to, then I went over to the Navy. I got their certification I got Navy certified as a police officer.
Oh, okay.
And then I came over here and I got certified as like a civilian as well. So I have military, or Air Force, Navy, and civilian certifications in
Okay.
that regard. So I think that was what helped me move up without a degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Good to know. Thank you very much. So moving along, we're going to talk a little bit more about the day-to-day life here that you experience working in this environment. So first is what's your typical day-to-day work look like here at Maui Space Friends?
First thing I do when I come in, I definitely check emails.
Okay.
Probably getting information from my chain of command of maybe things that are pertinent.
Okay.
We have communication with New Mexico and Colorado with bases. So I get emails from them, which are like hours ahead, right?
Yeah.
So they're
The time difference here is
when I get in at 9 o'clock or when I get in at 8 o'clock,
yeah.
they're already 2-3 hours ahead
After
of me
lunch.
sending me stuff. So definitely checking emails, definitely making sure if there's anything pertinent for the day that needs to be accomplished.
Okay.
Then after that, I like to go see day shift. You don't see this as mid shift too much, but I definitely like to go check on the troops, check on the officers, go maintain like a personal relationship with them, and you know, have conversations, see what the issues are. You know, if there's security issues, if there's, you know, if there's any kind of things that are happening, what would make their life easier,
Right.
you know, what can make, you know, their job, security, life easier. You know, I try to do that for them. And then I'm basically just going over and trying to communicate with all the back office. We have our plans and programs section. I'm checking blotters, you know, I'm checking what is that? Help me out here.
Like a day-to-day kind of like what happens here,
Right,
like on
you know,
for
like,
security
right,
purposes. Yeah.
day-to-day entries of like what
Tasks.
happens,
Yeah, okay.
doing that. Definitely seems like there's been a lot of meetings and teams meetings. There's always some sort of teams meeting
Something
happening.
going on. Okay.
So, and that we're just getting information, communicating with high reps to make sure our like strategic planning is good and
Okay.
that what we're doing is, you know, accurate.
Cool. What would you say is right now the most challenging thing you and your team are facing, but also just overall, what kind of makes this job a challenge?
The biggest challenge for me is probably keeping everybody happy.
Okay. It's a lot of people, right? A lot of moving parts.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we have how many guys here? 24,
Okay.
24 civilians that I'm in charge of.
Yeah.
Give or take. I'm definitely like a morale guy. You know, I want everybody to be happy, but I quickly found out that that's not always possible.
Okay.
But the most challenging thing right now is working for the U.S. federal government. We are going through some hard times of reallocating jobs in different spots.
Okay.
Right now, the Secretary of Defense is like kind of slashing jobs. They're trying to find what jobs are needed and what jobs are not, and every department is at the whim of their mercy in a way. So right now, me and my boss, Tim Cooley, is trying to figure out, like, we have to present to our bosses, like, why we are needed here, like, why are we, like, can we use everybody to protect, for the mission, is everybody essential here? And, we're, like, trying to fight for our people to make that, to not save their jobs, but to make sure that our people are taken care of,
Cool.
So,
okay. Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, uncertainty with all that, so it's a lot of stuff up in the air. Makes sense. Well, so then switching gears, what do you find most rewarding about this job?
Most rewarding, definitely seeing people recognized.
Yeah.
I definitely like seeing when our guys promote. I try to like lead them in the correct way, and when it comes to fruition, it really is rewarding to me. That
we just had Jerry Rivas win a
right. He won an award.
Yeah.
He's going up for AFMC now, which that he's like getting to the top.
Getting to the top, yeah. So that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, so seeing him getting recognized, so that's really nice to see people getting recognized for like what they do, because we're so far out here in Maui sometimes that, and like our day-to-day operations, like we're there out performing the duties, but nothing like has happened, and it can be a tedious job that is unthankful sometimes, so it's nice to get rewarded.
No, it's great. Yeah, no, I mean, everyone likes to be rewarded for the job that they're doing, showed in some respect. So no, that makes sense. How do you maintain a healthy work-life balance? Because we're working all the time. We got a weird schedules out here. So how do you maintain that healthy balance between the two?
I think the biggest one for me is never trying not to take your work home with you, which is like super hard because I'm kind of on call 24/7.
Right.
If there's any issues or notifications being made, I'm always like one of the first ones to get phone calls of like, hey, this happened, what would you like to do? So I have to unless I'm on leave, my phone is kind of always on, which it's just part of the job, but if nothing like that is happening, sometimes I find myself thinking about work and thinking about thinking about work on my off time, which I should use that time to decompress.
Yeah.
Because I've been sometimes get caught up where I can get a little stressed out, and I need people to check me of like, hey, you need to like relax, get off work for a little bit. So that's probably
being able to have to always like turn that switch on, or like always just kind of like halfway on, ready for it to be on. It must be hard.
Right.
Yeah.
If you could switch on and off, like that'd be the perfect.
It'd be good.
Scenario.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. When you're hiring new officers, what kind of background and work ethic are you looking for in them?
Yeah, it's been very interesting because we've hired a couple new officers. It's really nice to a couple officers that we hired we knew them from before.
Okay.
They were military, and then we hired like Mr. Peter Rowe. Like we hired him, and I knew, I got to know him over the previously 2-3 years before we hired him.
Yeah.
But when you do an interview, I look for, are they compatible with our mission here,
Okay.
with our team, you know, because teamwork is like very important to me. If you're gonna be disrupting the team in any way, and it might not be nothing crazy, it could just be maybe like, you know, just those negative, maybe just negative people out there, you know, like I want positive, hardworking people that
Right.
like lift the team up.
Yeah,
You know,
want to be here and want to
be
put in the
here,
work. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So that is like what I really try to look for. It's really hard because in an interview of 30 minutes to an hour, it's really hard to find that sometimes because
Right.
people can be just saying the right things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of really hard to, you know, get to really know somebody within that time,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Okay.
but we're such a small place here that it's like one, it's a very difficult situation because one maybe, let's say, toxic person can be very detrimental sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also, I think with it being a smaller place, they must almost like shine more, like not shine, but in a wrong way if they're toxic or something like that, right? So it's with
Right.
it being smaller, it's probably easier to spot those people.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That is true.
Okay. So yeah, you'll know pretty quick then if they're disruptive and not part of the team, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. No, good to know. Next, I'd like to ask you some questions about your work and career experiences. First, is there a specific moment you can think of being the most rewarding here in your current position?
Most rewarding current position. I think it's at the end of year. This last year, we the hardest thing that is to do here, living in Hawaii, living on Maui, is to get paid accordingly.
Okay.
Right? It is a tough job. It's a tough situation. This last year, we were able to get the majority of our guys more of a raise than we did the year before.
Okay.
And so that took effort from me and my supervisors to talk to our leadership and tell them like why we deserve these things, why we deserve to be paid more, you know, job retention and all these things. So we were able to, you know, we were able to get that, and it was really rewarding because one thing that people always like is more money, right? So
Big motivating factor.
it's a big motivation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with our retention here, that's, you know, it's hard to live in Maui sometimes. So
Right.
that's it was a win. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, like you said, money's a big deal. So people always earn. I mean, they're not going to be happy. I mean, they're going to be happy about more money, right? So that's always a big win. What has been the biggest learning experience so far, and also like in this current position? Is there a specific moment or anything like that?
You definitely can't make everybody happy.
Okay.
So going to back previously what I said, like I'm a big proponent of morale, keeping people happy. But I quickly found out once I got in this position that you can't make everybody happy.
Right.
And as long as you stick to your guns and what you believe in, that that is the standard, and you shouldn't cater to anyone if they're not on board in a way.
Okay.
An example of this is like when it comes to dress and appearance for us, we're very, like, it's very black and white. We follow military 31 dash, what is it, 3907 or whatever it is. And it's very black and white, you know, shave face, you know, nice haircut, you know, all these things. And so I got in the position and I said, you know, like, you know, we're out here in Maui, it's not a big deal, everybody can, you know, it's like not the biggest deal that you have to be like, you know, I'll let some gray area go in the standards.
Yeah.
I quickly noticed that once you kind of give an inch,
They
people take a mile.
Yeah.
So I had to, and I'm currently getting back on the track of dress and appearance and how very black and white and how like stick to the regulations
Right.
because I would love to be in a gray area and I'd love to for people to just take the really small amounts, but that's never the case. You know, I'm like, hey, if you know, oh, you can have 1 day of facial hair, it'll probably grow out to a big old beard. You know?
Right.
So that's one
Just
situation where my learning experience
sense.
of just like, hey, it's very black and white sometimes.
So how are you able to take that sort of learning experience of not giving that whole, like not even almost giving that inch now because they'll take a mile? How are you able to take that and kind of evolve that into a better supervisor, into your like as yourself? Maybe just like learning who the people are, maybe not necessarily, like you said, almost like sticking to your guns. So like now that's evolving into a better supervisor.
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, if I were to, you know, I think people need standards,
right.
and if I don't think I'm doing, this is maybe better for them, but at the end it's better for me too. If I relax on people, that isn't gonna make them better in the long run. You know,
Right.
like if I keep the standard and I'm very punctual and I'm very, you know, hard but fair in a way, it sometimes can come off as, you know, not the greatest, but I think that's the way to, you know, to function, you know,
Right.
function effectively, right?
Right.
You know, because like that's, you know, when Air Force, you know, mission first, right? You know, like team first, you know.
Right.
So it's not about the person, you know, it's about the team and these kind of things. So,
Okay. No, that's good. Lastly, I'm going to ask you some advice. Any advice you would give to future officers, and anything that might help them become not only future officers but better officers. So first and foremost, what's your biggest advice you'd give to somebody becoming an officer?
biggest advice, pick your brain of your leadership, you know.
Okay.
We always have an open door policy here. Try to always go above and beyond of the job.
Okay.
You know, be willing to go outside of your scope of your job.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of times where people get ahead of the other person because this guy says, "Hey, this is my job," but this guy understands that, yeah, I know this is my job, but I will go above and beyond just because.
Right.
It seems like most of the time this guy gets put up and he gets promoted or whatever because he's doing more, but he doesn't like expect anything from it. He's just doing it because like that's his hard work and dedication.
It's that work ethic.
That's
right?
his work
that's
ethic. That's his person. So,
Yeah.
I definitely recommend. I recommend that for.
Okay.
becoming
No,
an
that's
officer.
that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you said, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Was there any advice you were given on early on that you still follow today?
Advice early on. There's a saying. No one cares about you as much as you do. So.
Okay.
So, to a point as like, don't expect. I guess just don't expect people to care for you in a way, right? Like pave your own way.
Yeah.
You know, work. Just get back to the work hard, dedication. You know, those kind of things, and don't expect anything. You know, that's kind of like earn it. You know, you're not earn it, but you're not. It's not expected, right?
Right.
And I think that goes a long way. Yeah.
No, that's great. Is there anything you wish you had known when starting out that, you know, like looking back, like, man, I wish I would have, you know, been told that, or even like, just like I said, like known that advice, like coming in?
Oh man, there's so many. I wish I would have known that before.
Yeah.
Main thing, let's see. I think it goes back to the supervisors that I did have that put me in the position where I am right now. Is I would have I would have even tried to like take more from them.
Okay.
I had this supervisor when I first got here, Greg Graham, and he was only here for a year, and he was. I looked up to him so much, and I wish I could go back right now and, just take more from him. In a
Right.
way,
Pick his brain some more.
Yeah, pick his brain some more, and things like that. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, Sergeant Maxey. So we talked a little bit about your military background and how that kind of led you to eventually get here, and then also your day-to-day work style as far as you come in, you're checking on your people, checking emails. I'm sure there's a lot of emails, a lot of behind-the-scenes work that the officers don't always get to see. From there, we talked about some of the rewarding things as far as getting your people recognized and getting the money, and also some of the excuse me, the troubles that come with the job, right? Advice as well, obviously, from with the work ethic and going above and beyond, and then just going back and possibly picking brains of last people before you to see what other knowledge they could bestow, right? So, is there anything else you'd like to share with me today as far as what this job entails, or any kind of background maybe, or just anything that comes to mind?
I think one thing that we didn't talk about is I know the Air Force does a very good job of giving people the opportunity to go to school online through the Air Force. The Air Force has a lot of programs. I understand you're going through school at UH, which is awesome as well. It is really nice that the military and Air Force programs that they put out there give you really good discounted rates on college to get your community college of the Air Force certificates and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I just recommend for not just you but for everybody to do is hit those Air Force certificates and college courses that they do provide.
Training courses, okay.
If you don't have I've been very fortunate that my background in trainings have led me to this position, but other people might not be as fortunate as that, to where they might need a little bit more schooling and leadership classes. Definitely leadership classes, because that is to be a good leader takes a lot.
And it's going to help you in the long run too, right? To get it then instead of now.
Right.
So,
and a lot of these courses are being taught by ex colonels from the Air Force, ex generals, that
so they know.
So it is nice you're getting a first-hand perspective of their views,
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah. So
no, it's amazing. Good. Well, I appreciate your time for this interview today. Is there any questions you have for me?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Well, I think I've got some great information from you here. I'm going to definitely use this in the future going forward. Do you mind if I reach out to you by either phone or email in the future if I have any future questions or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
You have a great day.